generally speaking, don't believe that Aaron's going to be with us today. We're unsure on Ms. Smith and
That's right.
so we've got a quorum, so we will go ahead and get started with everyone else present. Reverend Neal.
Let's pray. Gracious God, our Father, we're so excited today and we're so grateful for this time, for this season. And a year ago we met and Thanksgiving was a week away and we all were alive. And today we meet again. Some are missing. And we don't know the situation that a lot of us may be in, but you do. And so whatever our needs are, you are able to meet them better than we. We thank you for your goodness, for your love and your mercy. We thank you, Lord, for just keeping us. We're living in dangerous times. There's trouble all over our land, but we have joy and relief because we know that this is your world and you're still in charge. And so, Lord, those things that we cannot do and those things that you expect us to do, we're going to put our best foot forward. And those things that our arms are too short to wrap around, they're just right for you. You're so awesome. And we just can't thank you enough. You've been good to us. A whole year has almost completed itself. And we who are here can say, and yet we are alive to see each other's face. Be present in our meeting today. Bless every person who've come. And we lift up the sick and the afflicted today, the troubled, the downtrodden, the forgotten, those families that are bereaved. And there are just so many sad people, Lord, give them a smile on their face. Just let them know there's so much to laugh about. In spite of our valleys, our mountains, we can still laugh and we can still have joy. Because you have said to us, be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. And because you live, we can live too. And because you have joy, we can have it too. Thank you for this Thanksgiving season, Lord, and remind us to be thankful. And also remind us to remember those who are not so fortunate like we are. We have food to eat, clothes to wear, a place to live, sleep. We have friends, we have medical care, we have a job. We work, we play, we hurt. When all these things befall us, we know who to reach up. We got to reach up and grab it. You let your power, you give many of us miracles. Thank you for this room full of people and folk all over your world. We pray for the president. We pray for everybody because we all stand in the need of prayer. Be present in this place today and bless our church as he shall lead us. We thank you for the progress this water authority is making. Thank you for this room that has been beautified. Thank you for the staff. Thank you for yesterday. Ooh, we sat at this table, Lord, and did we eat till our mouths were greasy. We had an abundance amount of food. And I was just eating, Lord, we all was eating, but I was also thinking of those who didn't have anything to eat. Thank you, bless us. Give us all a good Thanksgiving. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Got pretty much our standard cast of visitors this week. I see a new person, welcome. Got the minutes from the prior monthly meeting been sent out. Hope everyone had a chance to review those.
I'm going to adopt that.
All right, got a motion to adopt the minutes as presented. Do I hear a second?
Right.
Got a motion to a second. All in favor of adopting the minutes as presented? Any opposed? Okay. Any of those in the record? Open up the floor for public comment. Yes, sir.
Said last meeting that you purchased 70% of the land for the reservoir. When was it chosen what property to choose to purchase?
Okay, good question.
Yeah, so we had a scientific way to determine that, but what we did is, there was one large property in the center, kind of just north of the dam. It seemed like, in my mind, I go for the larger, bigger fish first, and so we started there, and we were able to acquire that piece, and then we began to work out from that, sort of contiguous from that piece. So therefore, we felt like if there ever was the unfortunate circumstance that we had to abandon that project, that we'd have property that was contiguous. And so that's pretty much been our kind of rule of thumb as we worked out from that.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. Matt, if you don't mind, if you'll walk us through the manager's report, please.
Yeah, if you'll find your copy, we will start with the system operations for October 2017. Our customer base for that month was 17,754.
Okay.
And that's an increase from the previous month, still seeing that sort of steady growth. As you'll see in a minute, we have a lot of taps still coming in. The water plant for the month of October, we operated at 58% of its capacity. We processed 4.61 million gallons per day. That led to a production total of 4.4 from the water plant and 0.7 from groundwater wells, which gives us a total system production of 4.47 million gallons per day. And so that's down a little bit, but again, we are moving into the winter months, and that is to be expected. Last month had a busy month for our field operations. We repaired, well, we didn't have a busy month from a main break standpoint, only repaired 2 main breaks, which is a good thing. That number's down, which is, again, it's not uncommon for this time of year to see it decline some. 18 service lines were repaired and had a busy month of water taps. Installed 24 water taps and 3 sewer taps last month. So that's over 1 per day if you think about days of operation that we were installing those water taps. And still seeing a fair amount coming in pretty steady. Moving down to item B, we'll notify our agricultural rate customers in December, reminding them as they get their gate card recertified or renewed to send us a copy of that. That's required for our customers to get the agricultural rate. Again, we see that agricultural rate somewhat of an industry for Carroll County, as rural as it is, with the poultry farms and cattle farms, and that basically mirrors the industrial rate we also charge our industrial clients. Item number C, on the 23rd of October, we had a tour at the water plant. 13 students from Oak Mountain Academy. They're participating in a Lego robotics program where they have to design a Lego robotic that would be related somehow to water treatment. And so that was a good class. I think they were extremely bright students. And we're always proud to show that place off. It looks really good. I mean, we've we're about to do an expansion. The plant's what, 15 years old, but we're real proud of it still, and staff doing a great job maintaining that plant. Item D, the Snake Creek Reservoir is 1 inch above normal pool compared to the same level last month, 1 inch. We had 5.5 inches of rainfall during the month of October, and I didn't get my year-to-date total, but if I remember correctly, it was we're over 60 inches, I believe, already. So it's an extremely wet year, and December normally is another year we get 4 to 7, 8 inches of rainfall. So we see that trend probably continuing. A couple items that aren't listed on your sheet there. It's been a year of some of our larger pump failures for some reason or another. We usually end up here name the year for whatever common theme there is, and this year may be the theme of pump failures for whatever call, we're not sure. But we had one of our motors, or the motor on the high service pump number 2. Again, high service pumps are what we call our pumps that are at the water plant. Previously I talked about the raw water pumps that are at the lake that pump to the water plant. Then we treat the water into the clear well, which stores it, and then we pump the clear well with the high surge pumps that deliver it to a large portion of the county. And so we've got 3 pumps there. Number 2, the motor failed, and so we're having it pulled, scheduled to be pulled tomorrow to have that pump, that motor repaired. While the motor's out, we also think it's pretty good to pull the pump. So we're gonna pull the pump at the same time, and then have it torn apart and make sure we don't need to do preventive maintenance work on that pump as well. Once we get them pulled out, they break them apart, and again, we have a contract to do that for us, then we'll know more of a time frame and estimated cost. But if I had to put a swag on it right now, it would probably be $25,000 to $45,000 in that range to have both of those either repaired and or PM'd. But that's cost of doing business. We have to make sure we got good equipment there. So while that one's down, we still got the other two that are in service. We got that triple pumps there, so we have redundancy plus one, which is why we do it. And so that'll be coming out tomorrow. I don't think that schedule's changed. So I'll keep you informed. But what I would like, and I think y'all have given me that ability in the past, is go ahead, since it's an emergency repair, go ahead and move forward with that once I get the quotes, and I'll report to you back next month on that. The other item is it's related to our meter registers. So we replaced all of our meters back 2010, 11, it's about 7 years ago. We've seen a number of the registers. Now, this is not the meter itself. The meters are operating fine, but the registers are transmitting that electronic read, which our meter readers are driving by and then reading electronically with a receiver and a laptop. We've seen a number of those, what we call manual reads, meaning it's not transmitting, really tick up. And tick up, now that's the proper word, it's ticked up in a few months, and now it's beginning to climb. To the point where we began to have conversations with the meter manufacturer of the registers. What do we do about this? So that number's climbed, say 4 months ago, maybe 150, then about 350, then about 800. Then about 1,300. And so we begin to change those out, obviously, and it's under warranty. They're providing to us. So we're watching that. The idea we think is that trend may continue. And so we've asked them to supply us a larger number of registers. So we'll have that quantity here that we can begin to replace them with our crews, our staff. The kind of hiccup there is, we're a little bit of an oddball from the way we meter the water, and I'll tell you that at least with Master Meter, who the company we use is we're a PD customer, which means a positive displacement meter. A lot of people are positive displacement meters, but a lot of them are also other things like multi-jets, another type of meter type. And we've been PD meters here from the very start, I believe, and certainly in my tenure here, and they're great meters. We read and bill in cubic feet of water versus gallons. And why that selection was made many years ago, it's just probably whatever the meter manufacturer supplied then. But a lot of people are doing gallons. I'm not sure, Pete, what is Little Rick gallons or cubic feet? Gallons. In a perfect world, if I could go back and hit the reset button, we'd be gallons. But it's just easier to explain to customers. For example, 1 cubic foot of water is 7.48 gallons. And so we bill in units, which are 100 cubic feet, which is 1 unit 748 gallons. But whether you meter in cubic feet or gallons, it's just a matter of meting accurately and then billing the customer.
The city of Carroll uses cubic.
Right. So that might have been the reason that we did that as well. I don't know. But since we are cubic feet and PD, we're a little bit in kind of a small group. And so a little bit more challenge for them to get us the registers. If we were, I think, multi-jet in cubic feet or multi-jet gallons, the registers would be more readily available. So there's a little bit of lag in the time on getting the registers. We've actually are expecting about 1,200, I think, this month. We're not expecting them to be delivered in December, but they've got an order of 5,000 coming to us, and supposed to be coming to us in January.
Is it the electronics that are
Yes.
not working? Okay, so can we still manually read?
Yes.
if we need to?
Yes.
Okay.
So one decision we made early on, and a lot of people didn't make this, are not making this decision, and we're pushing and staying with this, is we wanted the register to be what we call an odometer. So a traditional type register, as the water's used, the odometer flips over just like on your car. And so therefore, if the electronic's not reading, well, the mechanical odometer's still working. So when our guys drive by to read, they get what they call an unread or no read, They get out, they manually read it, key in the reading, life goes on, the customer doesn't know, it's just normal. That's how we did things back in 2010.
It just slows us up on our.
It slows us up a little bit, right? So, one of the products that a lot of, as technology's getting better, electronics, everybody's got to have the fancy electronics, they go to LCD registers. Well, the ones that are on the market now, when they die, it's a blank screen, right? So when they die, then you don't have that manual read, it continues. So, we push to continue that. If someday in the future that technology changes where they can, when maybe the transmission part dies, but they can store their last readings, we might look at that. Or if you're on a fixed-based system where you're getting readings every day, and so you know that it fails today, you go out and change it. But we won't know for 30 days is the way we do things now. So the odometer style turns out to be a good decision for us. We're getting those, that's what we're pushing to get back in. So my point is, it's a little bit of a dynamic situation for us, but we've got a plan in place right now. We'll start reading again when we get Monday. That's right, next Monday we start reading again. We're probably going to expand the number of read days. So the last time we were reading 6 days, we were pushed to get all that read in 6 days. So we're going to expand that read period to about 9 days, slowly. That gives us more time in case we get more manual reads that are required that we think we can continue to do with our current staff as we progress. We might expand a little bit more as we go along. So just want to update you. I'll keep you informed as things progress. But again, right now, all the customers, the meter itself's working fine. There's no issue with recording the accurate amount of water a customer uses. The odometer's flipping over fine. We're just having to stop and manually read, which is slowing us down a little bit.
The reading in the customer billing is still correct?
Yes, most definitely. It's not a meter issue. It's not a actual manual odometer issue. It's just the transmission piece, the electronic piece in there.
I mean, the only change really on the customer side would be, until we can get these things cycled through, we may have a month or two where they have a day extra than they would have normally.
Potentially.
Because of any talk.
Potentially.
Not absolutely, but that's.
Right, so our
that's how
goal,
it
our
works.
goal normally is to give a billing period for a customer of 28 to 32 days. Now, even when we're doing electronic reads, sometimes that might be 27. Around the holidays right now, it might go to 33, 34, but that's, our goal is,
Depending on where we fall in the calendar.
right. This time of year is tough because you got the holidays coming up. So customers won't really notice that because the way we're migrating it out to 9 days, really it's only
One day
on
or
the, day or so on the front and back end. So.
Okay.
What's the manpower requirements to replace these,
Yeah, the registers.
yeah.
Right, so the registers, you see the rest piece on top. So far we've done with our people, our meter readers. I mean, we've, last month, we had enough in stock here that we could replace around 800.
So do they do it on site when they do the meter reading?
They come back, so
Reading?
when they're reading, we want them reading.
Yeah,
And so they don't change them out then.
okay.
They came back after they read, we did the rereads if required. Once billing goes out, gets taken care of, then when they move into, they went back and changed them out. They changed out about 4 of our guys changed out 800 of them. If we get to the point where, we need to change it out 5,000, obviously they can't do that in a month. We would have to either have some assistance or do it over a number of months. We think the key is to get the product in our hands, in our inventory, so we can begin to knock them out, 500 to 1,000 a month as they, if that many continue to not read. So, it's one of those things. You just need to be aware.
Who's the manufacturer?
Master meter,
Master meter?
Yeah.
And I have one question about your highest service pump. What size motor was that?
350,
I think it's 300.
300. That's right, it's 300, and then the large one's 450. It's 300. Anything else on that?
Okay.
I'll keep you updated.
All right. Appreciate the update.
Yeah, and one more comment on this. It's not specific to just master meter. In our small world here, it's just Well, there's master, the big ones kind of master meter, census, Neptune, you know, it's just, at times you have something that will fail. And what you really want to know is the company you're working with going to stand behind the product and provide you what you need? And I would say thus far the answer is yes. The only hiccup they've had is getting I think their materials in place to get us the product as quick as we want it. But the conversation's been, look, we think we're gonna provide you those, and you know, if they need help in labor, we'll have a conversation with them. But at this point, if we can do it with our labor, I'd rather do it with our labor. We've got our folks are invested in that, and so I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, moving down to number 2, regulatory. There's nothing changed on the outdoor watering guidelines; they remain unchanged. Going down to construction projects. Now, y'all probably noticed the last few months we have not had a lot of action items on the agenda. Y'all probably thinking, what are we doing? Are we working? And I assure you we are. And some of our work's going to be coming to you next month. So as I walk through this today, I'm going to tell you some things that are coming ahead and kind of prep you for the next meeting or two to what to expect ahead. Okay. So the 2016 water line extension project is going well. The contractors, Crawford Graded Pipeline, is currently working on Bear Creek Road. Once they finish that road, they'll move to Aston Creek, and then that will complete everything we've issued a contract through the changeover with them. They've installed today about 45,000 feet of pipe. What I would like to do is come back to this to the board next month and ask you to consider adding an additional line to that contract. There is a segment line that would go down Highway 27 South. There would be a 12-inch line extension that would go from Bonner Gold Mine Road down Highway 27 South to Hilltop Road. And Hilltop Road is where our Rooteville tank is located at. We'd like to go down 27 to that intersection, turn left on Hilltop, go down Hilltop, Highway 5. That is a extension that we've known about for a while, that we would have planned to do. And it's time to do it, really. And we've got a good contractor, and we've got good pricing. And so what I'd like to do is come back next month and ask you to consider adding that to their contract. We've got price on pipe already for that 12-inch, and we're getting prices with them for that 12-inch extension now. So some of the prices are reasonable, right? Fair. Looks like the project might be in the $650 range, $650,000 range for that extension, about 13,000 feet. But that's a critical extension for us. So
It goes from Bonner Gold Mine,
yes, we went
past the tank and over to.
down Highway 5. Because we got a line on Highway 5 that I go ahead and tie it into, that way we've got a double feed there. We did that extension to Bonner Gold Mine a number of years ago, like in 2006. And if we'd had the money then, we'd like to go ahead and do it all the way, but we stopped there, knowing phase 2 was coming. And in the peak summertime, that smaller line from that existing 12-inch, we've got a 6-inch line that goes on Highway 27 on down. It can be a little bit of a bottleneck for us to keep that tank full in really high demand times. This will alleviate that. This would be a good project. So I'll come back to you next month. Obviously, we'll finalize those prices between now and then. But that's the
So that extension feed that tank some?
right. They go directly by the tank, and then we'll cross the road again. And that'll set us up in the future too. If we ever want to expand that tank there, I need to add another tank. And we're talking about now we're talking about probably decades away. That will be established there for a good feed. Out on B is a 2-inch water line extension project. That project's going good. We installed about 7,000 feet of 2-inch line. We've got about 2 more extensions on the books that we need to complete, which will be about another 3,500 feet. If you remember that contract, we'd set to be a 12-month contract and not to exceed $100,000 total. Right now, we're at about $56,000. We think those two extensions will probably be in the $80,000 to $90,000 range. What I'd like to do is come to the board next month, ask you to extend that, not on a dollar amount, but on a time amount, for about 3 to 6 months. In case we have another extension come in, then staff will be going forward on a separate project to rebid a new project for 2-inch line extension. And that would come back to you later in our first or second quarter next year. So it'd be, I'm planning to ask you for an extension on that contract next month as well. Moving down to item C, the Snake Creek Water Treatment Plant expansion. We have, as you're aware, we're looking to expand that plant. We've issued an RFQ to a number of design engineering firms. They submitted their statement of qualifications to us on October 24th. We had 4 firms submit qualifications. We're reviewing those with our intent to maybe all 4 or maybe 2 or 3, depending on how they score out the qualifications, to invite them and ask them to submit a proposal on a request for proposal we'll prepare and issue to them later this year. And that would be for actual design fees to expand the Snake Creek Water Treatment Plant. So that will be coming forward. Really won't be anything on your plate to deal with until the first quarter of next year, but that's something we're working on internally, developing an RFP and then reviewing the SOQs during the month of December. Any questions? Moving down to item D, the Highway 100 distribution pump station. If you recall, a number of, a couple meetings ago, maybe 3, we voted, the board voted to acquire some property on Highway 100 for a booster pump station. So this is related to that. We'd sent out packages requesting proposals from, I think, 3 pump station vendors. We received 1 proposal back from Patterson Pump Company on October 31st to supply the booster pump station. Quite honestly, Patterson is a company we've dealt with many, many times in the past. I mean, they're a great company, local company here in Georgia. And so we're proud to have them submit that proposal. We're hoping to maybe get another one, but we feel comfortable with the proposal from them. We're reviewing it now. Looking at it's one of those things you have to look at and make sure you're getting what you need, because it's a little bit a few things that you have to just review and look at. And so we're doing that. Again, plan to come back to the board in December asking you to approve that. That is going to probably be in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $350,000 for that final cost on that pump station. There'll be some additional cost to install it. Either we'll do it with our own crews or hire a local contractor for slab and help us set that. But that's another good one for us. We're going to have redundancy to feed the Highway 100, feed the High Point tank in that distribution area. So another good project for us that's adding redundancy and expanding our system.
What is a skid mounted package? What is a skid mounted package?
Right, so normally when we get a pump station, it comes in a pre-assembled building that's on skids, but a steel structure. So then we'll pour slab, stub our pipe up we want it, and then that whole pump station will be set in place and anchored to that slab. We did a similar one
2012.
on Moat Road, if you remember, right? So if you go on Moat Road, you'll see something, and so that's the same company that did that one. It's going to be a summer-sized building sort of thing. Looks nice, been a great pump station. This would be something similar, but smaller from a pump size. But that's a skid mount. Okay, moving on to item E, the Indian Creek Reservoir Project. We had the work session last month that I updated the board on that. Then we had a public meeting on Monday, November 6th. Had a few directors there with us and had about 65 people there. It was a good meeting. Presented basically the same information that we had presented to the board, to the public. Had some good questions, but I think all the questions were certainly valid, and we had, I think, a fair response to them. Our goal there is to come back to you next month and let us select a preferred alternative. We're down to 3 sites: Indian Branch Upper, Indian Branch Lower, and Indian Creek. We're close to finishing the field work on that. So next month I'm planning to come to this board and we'll look at the data and make a selection on which one's the best alternative for us to proceed with. And once that's done, our goal is to file an application January is the target date, but we think no later than February of 2018. Any questions? Just two more things on my list that will be coming to are, one is the 2017 financial audit. We'll need to probably meet with the finance committee this next month to review that. But I hope to present that, well, we plan to present that to you next month as well.
The pension information is in the auditor's hands. That's what we was waiting on, and so he should turn that around fairly quickly to us.
And then the last project that I'll mention today is a SCADA replacement project. So a SCADA
Supervisory control and data acquisition.
okay. It was on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't get it started, so. So, not that you want to know that necessarily, but SCADA is what we use to monitor our remote locations. So, we've got tank assets spread around the county, we've got pump stations spread around the county. Well, they have to operate. And no, we don't have somebody running between every one of them, turn them on and off. So this is a system where it's monitoring the status of those and wells in our system. And we're able to, it has logic in it, so it's able to turn on and turn off pumps as tank levels need to be turned and turned off. So the system that we currently have was on the older edge of technology when I started, which has been 2003, so we're talking another 14 years. So we've been sort of wrestling with what to do with it for a number of years, but at that point where we believe we know what we want to do, and I've got a couple quotes in hand we're reviewing. Won't be coming to you next month with it, but probably the first month or two of next year, I'm hoping to get back to the board and ask you to approve a project that would actually replace all the hardware, the communication components, and have somebody install all that for us. It's rough budget numbers, let's say $500,000 probably, maybe a little bit less. But it'd be about 20 different assets that we control or monitor with that. This is not controlling and monitoring anything inside the water plant. That's a separate sort of SCADA project we'd probably roll into as we do the plant expansion. This is simply tied to the wells in the system, the tanks, and the pumps. And so it's a good, I'm really excited about getting this point and having it to you, because I think it's one of those things in our system that just make us so much stronger and just alleviate a real headache that we have at times. And so that'll be coming to you as well. So just know we got a lot of balls in the air right now that we're juggling, but it feels good to get some of these things on the calendar to get them to you. So a lot of information I gave you. Has anybody got any questions? All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Greg then for a financial update.
Okay. You'll open your financial report. Just to follow up on what you kind of went over and stuff there, kind of how we function as a authority is that we're accounted for as a business type entity. So these capital projects and debt service stuff is not included in the revenue and expense statement that you see. And that's what you'll see is we have a positive variance, and that cash flow that's generated by the organization is what allows us to do this project without having to go to market and borrow the money. And then if you borrow the money, you just have to pay the debt service. So it's either pay me now or pay me later. But what we try to do is stay on the front side of that. So the smaller projects that we have in place is that we try to fund those out of cash flow. And since we talked so much about projects going on, I thought that was good for everybody to understand that. Total assets ended up at $77,100,000. Net operating revenue year to date is $1,009,000. Budgeted is $496,000, so we're over budget $513,000. For the month, we're $336,000, budgeted $152,000, and are over $213,000. That amount is made up, we're over budget from the revenue standpoint, 89, and we'll talk about that some in a minute, and operating expenses, we're under 123. So that's what makes that up for the month. Turn over on page 2, on the cash flow. Net cash for October was $387,000. That's one of the things we touch base on every month. If you turn over on the next page, on page 3, you'll see year-to-date, the net cash flow from operations has provided $1,811,000 for the month, or for the year, excuse me. Turn over on the balance sheet on page 5. We always touch base on the construction process on the Indian Creek Reservoir. Expenditures for the month were $31,796. Over on the revenue and expense on page 8. You'll see a positive variance there on all three of the residential, municipal, and commercial class codes. Very good performance compared to budget from that standpoint. Down towards the bottom, other income, we're over budget 15,000. We had a couple of items come in. We had capital credits come back from EMC and Greystone. And then we also had a workman's comp refund that came back from ACG. Basically what that workman's comp is, at the beginning of the year, you project how many people you're gonna have and stuff, and what their pay rates and stuff are all gonna be in certain classes. At the end of the year, they audit that, and you'll see here we're being under on the number of people and stuff, so that feeds that change in the audited number, because the number that we paid was based on the projection. So, water connection fees were over budget 12,000, which you saw by the number of taps installed and all, and that's the cash piece of that. Next page, about halfway down, you'll see the major medical. The variance there is $30,000, and that's based on the number of people and changes to city. On the following page, depreciation is over, is under $6,000 there. First part of the year is under, as the capital projects are booked, then the depreciation will catch up later in the year. On the following page, you'll see on the water distribution, you'll see where wages were under budget. We're still behind on our number of employees from that category. Also on the water treatment plant, 6,000 under on wages there too. You get some turnover from that area. Turn over to page 15. Once again, you'll see the monthly variance of 213 and 513 year to date. And on the last page, on the ratios, the operating ratio was 1.52, which is very strong. That's up from last month. And debt service coverage of 241. Both very strong ratios and above our targets. Any questions or comments?
All right, thank you very much, Greg. Matt, I don't believe we have any committee reports, but we should have one finance committee to review the audit, the final audit report.
Yeah, I'll need to give a finance committee to schedule something probably the first or second week of December
Okay.
and review that. But I would expect, it's possible we have an operations committee meeting to review some of the items we've got up in the air now as far as bids and pricing goes. But right now, I'm sure we'll have a finance committee.
Okay. All right. And we did not have any matters of old business, and we did not have any matters of new business for this month either. All right, we'll go around the room. John, any comments?
Nothing here.
Great. Everybody else? Any other comments?
Everything's lovely.
All right.
Have we noticed this beautiful room? I know we met last month and it was here. I said something about it before we, started our meeting, but I want everybody to see it. It looks very good. There's when you walk on the floor, there's a little spring in it. I don't know what's underneath all that. It helps the old folks walk. So it's very nice, very nice. Everything lovely. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Pete, no comment? Howard?
I just want to wish everybody a good, safe, and happy Thanksgiving this week.
Yes.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Same here, thank you.
All right. Same, I'll echo the comments about it, everyone having a nice, safe holidays, if you're traveling, be careful. And, I guess we will see everyone for our last meeting of the calendar year.
December 21st, so it's very late this next month, so put it on your calendar, we'll look forward to seeing y'all then.
Make sure we're here. All right, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, he said the phone service.